Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, will you lose your unemployment benefits and the associated $600 a week federal booster if you are not job hunting? What are the important things that you absolutely must know? Now, as some states are opening up and some states are closing down again, the work search requirements from states are changing rapidly. This is a very fluid situation. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about three things. The first is which states are reinstating work search requirements. Again, this is a rapidly changing situation. I'll give you data that is current at the time I'm making this video. I'll talk about what exactly are work search requirements and how this ties into the overall discussion about unemployment. And number three, most importantly, I'll talk to you about what you should do now and what exactly this means to you. So what's happening now? Some states like Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska are actually reinstating work search requirements for unemployed workers as a condition of continuing to receive unemployment benefits, including the $600 a week federal booster. Many states are now pushing jobless residents to get back to work and are using the unemployment benefits as leverage in this situation to encourage individuals to get back to work. Now, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the states are essentially broke, because the states don't have any more money to continue to pay out to unemployment, and that's one of the reasons this is happening. Now, during normal times, and again, we are not in normal times, states have work search requirements. The idea is to give an individual just enough unemployment insurance so that they can sustain themselves, but they not enough so that they don't feel encouraged to go back to work. So normally, states have specific work search requirements for recipients of unemployment insurance because they want individuals to get back to work. Now, individuals who don't comply with work search requirements risk not only losing the unemployment insurance, they also risk losing the $600 a week FPUC federal booster, which at the time I'm recording this video is scheduled to end at the end of July, pending any further legislation for an extension, and also the extended unemployment benefits beyond the PEUC, which is the 13-week PEUC program, which runs all the way through December of this year. That will also be lost. In fact, if you're deemed to be ineligible because you didn't satisfy the work search requirements, you may also have to pay back some of the benefits that you received. I have done another video on individuals being forced to repay their unemployment benefits, in some cases through no fault of their own, because the state made a mistake in processing their claim. Now, at the start of the pandemic, which is a public health emergency, social distancing was necessitated, business closures were necessitated. So most states had completely eliminated their work search requirements because it made more sense for individuals to stay indoors and not go out there and run the risk of getting sick. But now a lot of states are starting to reinstate their work search requirements. Specifically, like I mentioned, Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska are reinstating the work search rules. Now, whether or not your state is reinstating the work search rules, you are going to have to get in touch with your state to ask the state that question, and I'll give you the information to get in touch with your state in the description section of this video. So why are states starting to reinstate work search requirements? Two reasons. Number one, their trust funds have been drained, and number two, they're trying to minimize fraud because there has been a lot of fraud that's been going on with the unemployment claims. If you take a look at this chart on your screen right here, you'll see that more than 31 million Americans were receiving unemployment benefits as of the middle of June, according to the most recent data from the Labor Department, and more than 1 million Americans have been filing new claims every week since the middle of March. If you take a look at this chart, you see the weekly claims this year, in fact, most recently in April through June, and you can see that the claims were as many as 6 million in April and have continued to remain high and still have been high through the month of June, although the rate at which the claims have been coming has indeed reduced. When you take a look at this chart, in fact, you'll see that in April, there were 2 weeks with over 6 million unemployment claims, and there were some weeks with right around 5 million unemployment claims. And you can see in June, in fact, the week ending the 27th of June, there were 1.4 million jobless claims in 1 week. Now, it appears that the state officials have also been encouraged by recent jobs report data. The jobs report data in May and June was extremely encouraging. It did beat a lot of people's expectations, and the unemployment rate dipped from 13.3% down to 11.1%. So states are now essentially believing that individuals can get back to work because the economy is gradually improving. Now, this is in sync with what the Republicans think, because the Republicans have talked about doing away with the $600 a week unemployment booster and instead having some sort of a back to work bonus or a one-time bonus to encourage individuals to get back to work. I've done 2 other videos on my channel. One where I've talked about individuals who are in favor of the $600 a week unemployment booster and against the $600 a week unemployment booster. So you definitely want to check out that video. What's ironic is that economists are in support of it and politicians, specific administration officials, the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, the White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow, and the US Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia, amongst many other individuals, are not in favor of it. And I've also done another training video where I've compared the $600 a week unemployment booster with the back to work bonus to give you both sides of the equation. So you definitely want to check out both those videos as well. In fact, if you take a look at this chart on your screen, you see the jobless rate that we have today compared to the Great Depression era levels back in the 1930s. In the 1930s, unemployment went as high as 25.6%. That's more than double what we have today. I mean, oh gosh, I don't know how they got through the 1930s, guys. I mean, wow. In April, we were at 14.7% unemployment rate. Because the jobs numbers were better in both May as well as June, that rate went down to 13.3% in May and then came down to 11.1% in June, which is encouraging Republicans, which is encouraging members of the administration to want a back to work bonus, a back to work initiative, as opposed to a continuation of the $600 a week federal booster. Now, the thing that really complicates all of this is fear and safety. So if you don't feel safe and if there's a surge in the pandemic and if the state needs to lock down again, what are you going to do? I mean, take a look at Texas, for example. The Texas Workforce Commission delayed its work search requirement because there is a surge in the cases in Texas at the moment I'm recording this video. And the Texas Workforce Commission said that they will re-examine the decision, the work search requirement decision, in late July. And this was a June 30th announcement from the commission. Here's a comment from a representative at the New York Labor Department. It's a challenging time to try and find a job, but you must make your best effort. Essential businesses are still open and many are hiring due to spikes in demand. Now, there is a nuance with the work search requirements that you do need to be aware of, and this was explained very clearly and very succinctly by Susan Hausman, who's the research director at the W.E. Upjohn Institute for Employment Research. Susan said, you get disqualified for not trying, but you don't get disqualified if you don't succeed. It's something of a hurdle to jump over. In her words, it's not a huge one. So what does this basically mean? What it means, fortunately, is that it's generally not too challenging. I use the word generally because every state has its own work search requirements and you need to contact your state to determine their work search requirements. So I use the word generally. It's generally not too challenging to pass a work search test if you want to continue collecting jobless benefits. Now, let's be clear. If it's safe for you to work, if there is no surge in cases where you are at, and if your employer is calling you back to work and your employer has a safe working environment, you should go back to work. No one wants to continue collecting jobless benefits, and no one is going to be able to continue collecting jobless benefits because at the end of the day, individuals do have to get back to work. This is not about getting back to work or not getting back to work. This is about the most efficient manner, the most safe manner to get back to work as quickly as possible. Now, let's try and define work search activities. In the state of Missouri, workers must complete 3 work search activities during each week for which an individual requests unemployment benefits unless they are in an approved training, have a definite recall date from their employer, or are enrolled in a work sharing program. Examples of activities include accessing and searching for work through the state's jobs portal, and in the case of Missouri, that state's jobs portal is jobs.mo.gov. So you'll need to find the portal for your particular state. I will link you in the description below to various sources where you can find your own portal if you don't know that already. Attending a job interview or fair and completing online application are some examples of activities that will help you satisfy work search requirements. Essentially, what the state wants is for you to continue searching for a job, which I'm sure most of us are doing anyway, or all of us should be doing anyway, assuming it's safe to go out there. Now, self-employed individuals collect unemployment benefits through the PUA program, which was established through the CARES Act. They can call clients, they can submit bids or proposals, or they can attend training. So these are work search requirements, general work search requirements. You do need to contact your state to make sure you satisfy the work search requirements specific to your state. In New York State, These activities may include online job applications, using social networking, or other online means to hunt for jobs. You need to be able to demonstrate that you are hunting for these jobs. You can call or you can email employers, unions, or staffing agencies. In other words, you need to have some sort of outreach, whether it's email, whether it's LinkedIn messages, whether it's any kind of mechanism where you're doing some sort of outreach in order to be able to get your job. And if I were you, I would actually document this in a Word document or in some sort of an online spreadsheet, so you can demonstrate that, okay, on Monday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I was searching, I did this, I visited these websites, I sent these emails. You need to have copies of those emails. This is the right thing to do. You need to be able to document all your efforts so that you can provide that documentation when asked. And speaking of documentation, New York requires unemployed individuals to keep track of and to document their work search efforts and submit proof if requested. And this was according to the New York State Department of Labor. Now, this is a complex situation. There are many nuances to this. I've tried to cover as many as possible. You do need to remember that in general, individuals need to be willing, able, and ready to work. They need to be able to demonstrate that they were looking for a job if they want to be eligible to continuously collect unemployment benefits. This is what happens in a normal world. By the way, let's hope we get back to a normal world as quickly as possible. When the pandemic started, everything kind of went upside down. If kids can't go to school, then essentially parents are stuck at home with the children. There's no childcare because of school closures. You're stuck at home with the kids. And if the mere act of leaving the house makes it unsafe for you to go back to work, you're simply not going to go out there and look for a job. Now, the rules are tightening back up. More and more states are tightening their work search requirements, making it much more restrictive, making it much harder to continue collecting unemployment benefits and the associated $600 a week FPUC federal booster. Keep in mind, if you don't qualify for unemployment benefits, you're not going to get any federal booster, which again, at the time I'm recording this video, is scheduled to end at the end of July, pending any legislation for extension. So states are starting to tighten back up, and as things get better in your state, as the surge reduces, as people start to feel more safe, as businesses start to reopen, as social distancing guidelines are relaxed, you can expect that the work search requirements will become much stricter, much tighter, because that is the move towards a normal world. Now, the silver lining in all of this is that satisfying work search requirements, if you want to continue collecting unemployment benefits, is generally not very difficult. Again, you do need to talk to your state about specific work search requirements in your state, but I think I've given you a pretty good guideline of what you should be doing and how you should be documenting your efforts. One final comment before I wrap up this video. Things start to get really tricky when you're actually offered a job. So when you're actually offered a job, what should you do? Because at the end of the day, if you continue certifying for unemployment benefits, you will be asked at some point in time whether you were offered a job. When certifying for weekly unemployment benefits, your state will ask you if you turned down a job. You must always be honest, always be truthful in the information that you provide. As soon as the state knows that you were offered a job and you turned down the job, your state is going to make the determination as to whether you can continue receiving weekly unemployment benefits, and you'll need to give them a reason, whether it's a health reason, whether it's a safety reason, or whether it's a childcare reason. And that determination about whether that's going to be accepted or rejected for the continuation of weekly unemployment benefits is going to be entirely up to your state. I hope I was able to give you some clarity on the work search requirements, which are rapidly changing, but I believe I've given you general guidelines which should hopefully get you through this pandemic world into a post-pandemic and normal world. At the end of the day, we don't want to be relying on unemployment perpetually. We want our jobs back. We want to feel safe. We want to get back to life as we know it. We want to go out and grab a bite to eat. We want to be able to do the simple things that we have been accustomed to doing and that we have a right to do. It's important for us to be aware of the work search requirements so that you can satisfy the right criteria, so that if you're eligible, you can continue receiving unemployment benefits and hopefully a federal booster beyond the deadline that was originally set by the CARES Act. I hope you learned something new from this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and if you don't know anything about me, my story is a rags to riches story. I was able to build the life of my dreams. I am the American success story. I am a symbol of American greatness, of American exceptionalism. And if you don't know anything about me, definitely check out my origin story, my video, my background, so that you know a little bit about me. If you learned something new from this video, please go ahead and click like below. That's how you can help me. I would really appreciate that. For every 1 minute that you watch, it takes me 1 hour of planning, execution, filming, editing, and then launching on this YouTube channel. So I would really appreciate you clicking the like button. Also, if you'd like to hear from me, please click the subscribe button below, and please enable notifications so you get an instant update from me about future videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.